from exploring similar themes through different ideas to finding success in the business models they adopted, let's compare two of the most successful shows of the last decade. That said, I think Yellowstone may have done a better job with their cast than Westworld. I get how being a sci-fi futuristic show can make it hard for you to attract major acting talent, but a look at the cast when the shows were coming out would have sealed the decision in your mind about which show was going to do better. Yellowstone boasted a cast that included Golden Globe winning actor Kevin Costner and Daytime Emmy winner Luke Grimes. Even the supporting cast had major acting credentials to their name. Jamie Dutton has won a special jury prize for acting at Sundance Film Festival. Westworld didn't have any Golden Globe nominees in the cast, but it sure had a lot of primetime winners in the bag. Thandie Newton in 2008 and Jeffrey Wright in 2004 won primetimes before the show aired, while both Evan Rachel Wood and Ed Harris got primetime nominations for Westworld in 2017 and 2018. But there's only so much one can tell you about a show from how many awards the cast has won for other projects in their careers. With several seasons of both shows out, we can compare them to the critical acclaim they have quite directly. If awards are any indication, Westworld takes the cake for cinematography. Don't get me wrong, both shows deserve all the praise in the world for their immersive worlds they've built. Ben Richardson has had some pretty famous projects before this, like Beasts of the Southern Wild, but the show let him explore rugged landscape photography. He may not have gotten any major awards for the work he did in Yellowstone, but the landscape shots of the Montana wilderness left the audience stunned. So much so that they were nominated for a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Sound Editing alongside several other technical awards. But if you're gonna make me pick, then critical acclaim and awards give Westworld an edge in the visual effects. Paul Cameron genuinely outdid himself, and the first fruits of his labor came out in 2017. He won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Cinematography for a single camera series for his part in the pilot episode, and got a Hollywood Professional Association Award for the show's color grading in the same year. That's not it though. He was nominated for the American Society of Cinematographers Award in 2017 and 2018. I have to admit here that it's only natural for Westworld to win this one because of the artistic options a sci-fi world has. The award ceremonies seem to love Westworld more overall. It's honestly embarrassing how large the disparity between awards and nominations is for the two shows. It makes it feel like they aren't even in the same league. Let's take the Primetime Emmy as an example. Westworld has had enormous success at that awards function, with 9 awards won and over 50 nominations since its debut. Yellowstone hasn't even been nominated a single time. The only accolades the show has to its name are 1 win and 1 nomination at the Western Heritage Awards, the same at the Hollywood Music and Media Awards, and a solitary nomination in the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild Awards. Those categories aren't even that major. Westworld has been complimented by the American Society of Cinematographers with 2 awards and 4 nominations. If that wasn't enough, the show's been nominated for the Critics' Choice Awards 23 times and won 3 of them. I'm sure the makers of Yellowstone aren't too concerned. They are the most viewed show on cable television. Westworld viewership numbers are dwarfed by its nemesis. The shows are broadcast on different networks, so it's a little sketchy trying to compare numbers directly, but no matter which way you look at it, the people seem to like Yellowstone better. It quickly became one of Paramount Network's most prized possessions after its debut in 2018, and 3 seasons of the finale pulled just over 5 million viewers. That makes it the most watched cable program of the year. In comparison, Westworld barely got over 900,000 viewers for their season 3 premiere. But here's where things become a little more challenging. HBO is a high-end streaming network that is more difficult to get than cable television, and where Westworld is broadcast. A lot of fans stream the show on platforms like HBO Max or illegally, and those numbers aren't added to these statistics, understand? Despite all of that, I think Yellowstone is the more popular show in the United States, with Westworld having more international national appeal. On a pure viewership basis, Yellowstone wins this round even if the two production houses have different business models. Up until now, I've been focusing on what sets the shows apart, but once you start watching them, you begin to realize the two are quite similar. The shows are littered with thematic parallels. They explore these themes in their own ways, and they are made with different purposes in mind, but the bridges exist as clearly as day. Both shows are centered around concepts of morality. Westworld has all the ethical conundrums that come with artificial intelligence and the creation of sentient beings. Their struggle of finding their place within the world is mirrored in how members of the Dutton family struggle to understand their family's history. Dutton's fervent defense of his property is an example of the struggle humanity has with striking a balance between conservation and development. Westworld makes hints that this equilibrium may have been upset, or it can be seen as the eventual culmination of technological development. Watching the shows side by side is vital to how both the Dutton Ranch and the theme park from Westworld are the same. They both symbolize the need for control and power, and the struggle of those things being oppressed by the systems put in place to maintain control. But let's not read too much between the lines here, especially when we have some comparisons staring us right in the face. Fans have noticed how similar the theme songs are for both shows. I didn't believe it the first time someone said this to me either, but it was clear as day when I rewatched the series. Both the openings have western landscapes and cliched western motifs like horses and guns, and the music is pretty similar too. Nothing too grand or loud accompanies either opening. The sound directors chose gentle tones that can go from ominous to grand and sweeping within seconds. While the openings share the purpose of making the viewer feel lost in a sprawling world, they go about the task quite differently. Westworld throws you into dark and mechanical backgrounds, with beings emerging from thin air making you feel small and inconsequential. Yellowstone, on the other hand, goes for a gold-tinted world with patches of black to give a royal feeling to the Dutton's huge ranch. But the openings aren't where the fans stop their comparisons, and they have some pretty strong opinions about how the shows have aged. Westworld may have the best single season, but Yellowstone feels more consistent. The consensus puts the first season of Westworld up against any TV show ever made, and the second season followed pretty closely behind. It all went wrong in the third season though, when the creators stepped into the real world and left behind the much-loved theme park. Fans and critics alike felt this was a step away from what made the original concept so engaging, and it didn't help that the writers felt lazy. There was less focus on the complex storylines the fans fell in love with, and it seemed like a generic action show at some points. In contrast, Yellowstone is regarded as being excellent through season 3, and any issues are dwarfed by the difficulties Westworld encountered. Well folks, that's all you need to figure out which show did a better job.